So the next one is Dave Meltzer again, saying AEW is cold. Many people are saying it wouldn't hurt to promote outside of social media either, because as we know at the moment, AEW is struggling to sell tickets. I think there was whatever show it was, Edge either debuted on or the Tuesday one, I can't remember, but it was only 2,500 people were in the building. We're having a lot of video footage of people being at AEW shows showing, it's relatively full one side, and then everywhere else it's just empty chairs. And as I
saw one video where the people were at a live match, and up in the deluxe box suites, they had a big TV in there, and it was tuned to Raw, or it was tuned to a WWE show. So, and the camera went up. You saw the people in the ring, and the camera moved over, and all of a sudden up to the box suites, and they were sitting in there, and they were watching Raw.
Oh no. Well, I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? AEW Collision numbers are now consistently lower than when TNT used to run old movies in the time slots. Now, it also doesn't help that WWE has been running a lot of pay-per-views, but the fact is that they're going to be running a lot of pay-per-views on Saturdays, all of them, in fact, plus NXT takeovers and such. So, Dave Meltzer said the following: they are cold, boy, are they cold, and how to change that? Man, that's hard to do. Edge was there at Collision last night and it didn't move a lot of tickets. Edge is a good performer and he's a good talker and everything like that, but he's not CM Punk as far as a game changer. Meltzer also added it's going to be hard for AEW to change how cold they are right now. He says it's not the end of the world, but they should get a good TV deal, and he doesn't worry about AEW's future and all that, but to get it back to where it was a year ago will be very, very difficult. Now, speaking of somebody who has been more than once in a relatively cold promotion and been hired as the booker, and then turned it around somewhat, is you. You did it with Florida, you did it with 2 Puerto Rican territories, and it's a good point. When a promotion is cold, what actually works, if anything?
Well, I preach this time and time again. If you go into a territory, now this is the times have changed now, because they're not looking for instant ratings. These territories were looking for a rating to make them look better on TV, but they were looking to sell tickets. They were trying to get their house show business up. I didn't even deal with pay-per-views. So I've taken over some territories and they were dead on their ass. And with Puerto Rico, I didn't bring anybody in because nobody wanted to go because they heard how bad the territory was. So I'm sitting down there like this, like, And I've told this story 100 times. I said, I'm going to the beach. And I grabbed me a bottle of Malibu rum, go to the beach. And Senor Malibu had some great ideas. After about 2 hours on the beach, drinking Malibu.
He'd take a while to warm up, wouldn't he? As a
but he'd say something out of the blue, and I'd hear it. And I said, yeah, I can do that. So I turned one territory around in about 3 months. They had another company there, run by Carlos Colon. And I started at a 2.6. And they had like an average of a 8 or a 9. And when I took over, I didn't bring anybody in. But then our ratings trying to come up a little bit, and Carlos would drop a little bit. Then I'd come up. And finally, about 2 months, they were like the same. They were like we split the rating. It was like a 5 and a 5. And then I brought Kane in, and I went, boop, jumped up, and they were going nuts. And then the next week it dropped back down. And then the third week it popped up, my rating for my company. And then it never dropped for another 2.5 years. I went in, I had a rating one time. I didn't have it. The show had. It was like a 22. And it's the same system, I guess. And Carlos would have like a 10. They should be happy with a 10. They don't usually get that. But wrestling got hot. And I just created an atmosphere that was entertaining and plus had a story. And I went with, I put a guy in charge of my company, Savio Vega, who was really, he tried to be a nice guy, but you knew he was just a no good bastard. Everything he tried to make you think I'm doing this for you, but then you'd read through it. Oh, he's doing it for himself. And I had a great video guy there. His name was Moody. And the reason I named him Moody was he was a moody bastard. He'd come in the morning, like Monday, he's all moody. And then I'd kind of be up and running around. And I noticed he was moody. And then finally, he felt like killing himself on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, after listening to his crap, I felt like killing myself too. So let's just do it. Wednesday, I wanted to kill him and myself at the same time. But Wednesdays, he would always pick up, and he did some great video packages, and that makes entertaining TV. So I had to put up with him and put up with his moods, but he produced. So I did. But, and again, I appreciate it's patience. You look at what you got and you work with what you got. And it started to move, and people actually still talk about it. Because I would go to those big stadium shows and really not bring anybody in. I'd bring some people in just to give it the impression it was a big show. One guy I brought in was Rick Steiner, Braun Breaker's father. Brought him in and put him in like the fourth or fifth match. But it gave the appearance of, a big show. So, and I remember guys would say, well, what can you pay me? And I'd give myself, I'll give you this. They said, well, I was looking for $5,000 a match. I said, well, you need to keep looking because you're not getting $5,000 a match because if you're not even in a main storyline. And then when I said you're not getting 5,000, I'd get them, but it was nowhere close to 5,000 because I don't blame them asking. Ask for as much as you think you can get. But I'm going to say, if I walked in there and told them you want 5,000 match, they'd look at me and said, why'd you even talk to him? And I would have no answer. So we'd like to have you down here, but not at that price. So, and WWE was trying to work with us then. And I remember I got Kane, and he was about the only big star we ended up getting, period. And he didn't want to come. I don't blame him. Because I had him in the other company. But he was the one that's when the ratings jumped up and stayed up. That was just announcing Kane was going to be in the building. So,
tonally speaking, though, because we're talking very generally here, but specifically, so whatever, let's say Carlos's company, whatever it was beforehand, when you went in there, what were the tonal booking changes did you make? Did you make it more comedy? Did you make it more hard hitting? Did you put more vignettes in? Did you put more backstage stuff in?
More vignettes, more story, more backstage stuff. Because they'd never seen that before on a local level. And I had one guy, you ever see a scene in the background, you say, oh, they put the camera there. Of course they did. Mm-hmm. But I put a paparazzi guy. And it was a stupid little handheld camera. And he'd come around the corner and he'd catch two guys talking and they'd look and it would disappear. Because it made sense. They didn't want him taping it. And I called him paparazzi. And he got over with a paparazzi gimmick. He really did. So, and that explained, and it's stupid, I know, but it explained why the camera was there, because he's trying to break the news before everybody else knew it. But it kind of got over because it was a little comical, wasn't really serious, and he got called at times. He said, "Oh, I just bought this new camera, and I'm just trying it out. We turn that son of a bitch off, okay?" And he go, but he already got the information he needed. So if anybody ever thought about this, said, wait a minute, he caught them doing that on TV. If they're going to all these towns and they're in the same dressing room, what's going on? But if you overthink it, sometimes you can kill it. So
I've got a big question for you. One of the big criticisms with AEW at the moment is ref bumps and not adhering to the rules, or not disqualifying when something should be disqualified, quite obviously, and it's happening right in front of the referee's eyes. How did that go in Puerto Rico about disqualifications, countouts, clean finishes, that kind of thing?
Basically, what I did, I just put the baby faces over, except the big shows and where we were taping for TV. If you go to a town, say it's 40 miles out of San Juan, you're up in the mountains. They have some mountains there. You don't want those people leaving like upset or mad because their favorite didn't win, and it didn't matter. I just beat my heel. People leave happy. We leave happy. Nobody's trying to kill us when we leave. Because, when you go in the interior of Puerto Rico 20 years ago, it was not going into the interior of West Virginia 60 years ago. I mean, the same fan mentality. They kind of knew it was not on the up and up, but at the same time, they didn't want to see their favorites lose. So you had to, and plus I thought they had bought a ticket, so I want them to go home in a good mood and saying that was pretty good. Next time they're here, I'm coming back again. That's how you build fans. You don't abuse fans unless it's on something really, really big that you can really spin a story around or interact it with another story. So don't screw your fans. I mean, just for the sake of trying to get heat, because you'll get heat all right, but the wrong kind of heat. That's when they turn the TV off.
Give you two more very brief ones, and we'll move on to the next bit. Is AEW turning into TNA in the sense that they are now hiring quite a lot, or, with Edge, Adam Copeland especially, they're bringing a lot of older WWE guys who've already had their run, and now they're bringing them in their late 40s, because there's 3 points. One, the cost is going to cost the company millions. Two, they're the best thing on the show still. And three, they're still not really positively impacting ratings. And I'll use Christian as an example, because he's doing great stuff in AEW, but it's still
his stuff is good,
but it's still not turning the tide. And also, he's probably costing them a lot of money, but he's still the best thing. You know what I mean? It's that weird dichotomy.
Well, I wish I had an answer for that. If I had an answer for that, I'd pick the phone up and I'd call Tony. Tony, you need to do this. But he's doing the best he can. See, I don't know what his TV syndication is paying him. I heard like $1 billion over 6 years or something. And he's how many stations does he have? 1 or 2 or 3?
No, he's got 3 channels over 2 stations over the Turner, TBS and TNT.
Well, first of all, I think a lot of things too many. Sometimes it's too much. And he has a lot of too many guys. I don't know if he's paying them while they're sitting home. So if he just paying them just to be on the roster, that's a waste. What are they doing?
I definitely think they're doing that. I think that if they've all got a downside guarantee, if there's a little logo that says so-and-so is all elite, that means that they're beholden to AEW, they'll be getting a downside guarantee, and then they can do indies if AEW says it's okay. Or if they want to.
Well, I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that. Tony Khan does too. So if anybody has an answer to anything for Tony Khan, just write him. Tony Khan at tonykhan.org. That's not his email address. But I think he lives this business. He talks this business. He breathes this business. And they say he works like 18 hours a day. But after a while, that you get burnt out.
That's me.
So now, like Memphis used to be, they would bring these heels in fresh and new. Nobody had ever seen them. And they'd get them hot and they'd leave. they would leave within a period of 9 months. Because if they stayed any longer, now it's rehash. They had their run with Lawler. Now what are they going to do? And Jerry Jarrett used to explain this magnificently. He would say it was like a little kingdom, and they had a king, Lawler, and all of a sudden Jimmy Hart was bringing in all these monsters to destroy him. And all Jimmy Hart had to do to get a guy over is lead him out there. If he was a big, impressive looking guy, then for the next month, all the other baby faces, me included, we end up having good matches, but he beat us. And he's gearing for Lawler, and Lawler and him would have a run that would last probably 2 months, maybe. And then that would get us like to September. But he'd be gone by October. So it was and then a fresh face. They just do the repeat. Hart would fire him, or something would happen, or Lawler would hurt the guy. And all of a sudden, the kingdom was back to normal. I love the way Jerry Jarrett used to describe this. And everybody was happy to walk the streets and live a normal life till the next fire-breathing dragon came in, and they just rehashed the process, but with a different guy. Made a lot of sense. They drew a lot of money.